Do you know it takes a lot more than just what you put in your mouth to keep yourself healthy? So here's a wee story about how I grew up, which I believe contributed to my good health. Hi, it's Fee here, the healthy vegan author and creator of the Gold Card Vegan website. So now that society says I am a senior person, I'm going to take that to mean that I've learned a few life lessons over the many years I've been on this earth. You know, I was fortunate enough to have parents who were probably way ahead of their time in many aspects of living. My mother was an adventurous cook, and whenever someone from another culture arrived in our town, she was the first one to throw out the welcome mat. Because of this, she learned quite a few different culinary skills, and consequently, over the years, we had flavours from all around the world. So as kids, Asian cuisine was a big hit because we could bring the bowl up to our mouths and scoop in the food with chopsticks. And yes, we learned how to use chopsticks. And this was such fun because we were usually told to sit up straight and bring the fork to the mouth, not the mouth to the fork. Chopsticks, however, soon gave way to Mexican, which was, this was using your hands. We were just in heaven, building our burritos and eating with our hands. But Mexican quickly surpassed by Indian, with slurping up the leftover curry with the chapati. Oh, life was grand whenever Mother decided to create something exotic. You know, she didn't do it often. It was always usually a special occasion or just when she had an inclination to do something different. The rest of the time, it was meat and vegetables like any other New Zealand family. It wasn't until later in life and after I'd gone vegan that I had even more appreciation for the food my mother served. Even though it wasn't pure plant-based, it was all whole food. We did occasionally have processed meat in the form of, say, salami or luncheon. We only ever had chicken twice a year because it was considered a luxury. So usually it was beef or hogget, which is an older sheep, and very occasionally lamb. But the table was always filled with plenty of vegetables. There was summer salads and beautiful warming vegetables in the wintertime. And, fruit typically followed a meal. We didn't generally have a dessert. If we were really lucky, Mother would have made ice cream, which we'd have with either fresh fruit salad or peaches or nectarines that she had bottled or canned. Now, we also lived opposite the primary school, which was where I went to school, and my siblings as well. That is between the ages of 5 and 12. And we used to have to come home for lunch. Got special dispensation for us to come home for lunch. Now, all I wanted was to have a pie and a donut, just like the other kids. But no, I had to go home for soup in the winter and salads and sandwiches in the summer. In other words, the healthy stuff. But it was more than the food my parents offered us. We were encouraged to use our brains to work things out and to talk about our days, having conversations which sometimes would get a bit heated, but it was encouraged around the dinner table. We didn't have to be quiet like the other kids were. And our parents played board games and card games, things like chess and Scrabble, those sorts of things, with us before we went to bed. And books. We had books and more books. It was a constant trip to the library all the time. Because as my mother would say, you will never be bored if you have a good book to read. Now, my father also taught us not to stress about things. He was an excellent example of how not to let things get on top of you. He had two favorite sayings. The first one was, you take what life throws and you push on, because life is for the living. And the second one, which at the time when I was little didn't make sense but does now, you are always in the best place, always, because that's the place you're in right now, so make the best of it. Even when my mother died after nearly 50 years of a beautiful, happy marriage, he still embraced those two values, and he lived another 20 years. He played golf, he laughed, he learned new things, and he enjoyed people of all ages and all walks of life. And he finally died at the age of 96, still embodying all these things. My parents were open. They were open to having new adventures, and even if that was just simply tasting new cuisines, being open to discovering and learning, not judging others, and being grateful for the beautiful life they had. They came through 2 world wars and the Great Depression. They brought up 4 children, and they didn't have it easy until later in life. But they just had this most beautiful energy around them because of their values. And I've tried to emulate their morals, their laughter and their gratitude. And because of their values, I was on the path to excellent health anyway. I have just tweaked it a bit with my plant-based and vegan living. So good health includes not only the food, but it's the right attitude, being open, and what's in your heart. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting me and being with me this year 2020, which has been a right doozer of a year, hasn't it? Again, I am grateful that I'm living in New Zealand, where the impact has not been anywhere near others around the world. If you got something from this video, please share it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe, clicking the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Remember to have great food, make it whole plant-based, and be compassionate to all animals, including humans. Bye for now.